I think we are live.
Okay. Let me put this a bit on silent. So hello guys, really great to be here and have this town hall conversation. I'm here with Lucian, and today we're trying to cover a few of the important things that are happening within the Elrond ecosystem, and not only that, but then dive into the Mire exchange, a lot of the details that have been updated, and all the progress that has been made on that front. So we are very, very excited to have this conversation and discussion with you guys. Um, be sure to prepare comments and so forth, and we'll follow up on all that. But yeah, we'll take it one step at a time. Maybe to begin with, we'll start with an overview on where we are and what's happening. And then as a second point, we'll go with the Maya exchange details, try to cover that as much as possible. And then at the end of the conversation, we'll probably address some key points or questions and so forth. Um, so let's begin with the most important part, which I've also mentioned yesterday in a thread. Elrond has never been better. We've never had a more vibrant community, and you guys are rocking it on this front. We see everywhere Elrond supporters, Elrond community that's either trying to help or contribute to the productive conversations that are happening within the ecosystem, and we love that. You guys are doing great on this front. Now, on the other hand, of course, the Elrond network is at this point in the best position possible. We have moved from 2,169 nodes to 3,200 nodes, with 25% of the foundational nodes being already phased out. And a lot of the community has been receiving this and participating in the staking, so that at this point we have about 64% of the e-gold stake, e-gold circulating supply staked. In addition to that, we've been making really great progress with some of the partners that we have within the ecosystem, with probably more than 150 partners that have been waiting to be able to deploy some smart contracts, deploy ESTT tokens. And in fact, out of those partners, we have more than 20 partners by our last discussions that are excited and can't wait to release ESTT tokens on the Elrond network. All of this has been happening on several fronts. And then in addition to this, as you've probably seen, a lot of the progress has been coming from the Mire application, or through the Mire application. And we've seen more than something like 340,000 users join, stake through the Mire application, and do a lot of exciting things, experimenting and enabling us to improve everything within the application. Now, in addition to this, you've probably seen today the tweet from Lucian. A really huge step forward was announced with the Mire login. You cannot imagine how valuable or how useful this step is for the dApps and for the users that can interact with the ecosystem in a new way. So on all these fronts, things have been moving very, very well. But as I mentioned yesterday, there are some things that as they're coming live, we want to make sure that we proactively manage timelines, recalibrate them so that entropy or depth does not kill the projects, but allows us to move forward with each new step, bringing new adoption, new collaborations, and we're very, very excited for this. In addition to this, I would like to take again one moment to say that the community, whether admins in the community or general community people, have been contributing a lot to the ecosystem, to the communication within the community, managing a lot of things. It's this type of collaborations and this type of effort that brings together a lot of good energy and allows us to move forward. In addition to this, as you've seen, the Elrond team has been not sleeping too much during the last period. We've been making really, really great progress thanks to this resourceful team that's pushing super hard. So just want to say this, that we're very fortunate and are trying to continue to nurture this type of culture. But the people with which we collaborate and work are very special, and we continue to push forward on this end. Now, moving to the next point, probably the most important question on everyone's mind is what's happening with the Maya exchange. We've been mentioning a few of the changes that we were trying to get or finalize internally, but each day some new feedback came in, a lot of communication went back and forth with a lot of peer review, and we are now finally ready to discuss some of the changes. So as we address, I'll probably let Lucian go through some of the points with some of the numbers that have changed and have been updated. But the idea is this: the Elrond or the Maya exchange is a very, very important step forward. Just like Maya as the application, it's more than just something that you start in addition. This will be an integral and pivotal component within the Elrond ecosystem that will enable every partner that we have to get immediate liquidity in an automated way. And I will underscore that the incentives that we discuss about are probably one of the most important and underscored underrated elements that most people do not understand. To the degree that we have the incentives right, we can move forward, and this exchange will take off very significantly. And to the degree that the incentives, sorry, are misaligned, this will not go in the right direction. So it's in our best interest together to refine the incentives, get the feedback, and come out with a new proposal. So to maybe go to the numbers and the points and where we are at this point, we'll cover three elements: the bootstrapping phase of the exchange, the mid to longer term optimizations, and here we very, very much want to move for short-term thinking to longer-term contribution and thinking, so that the exchange really takes off, achieves escape velocity, and perhaps even beats some of the immediate exchanges that we see around us. So I'll let Lucian take it from here and dive into some of the points, and then we'll probably add some more information on each of the points as we move forward. Lucian?
Hi, guys. So just one thing to mention here is definitely after this AMA, we will have a blog post with all the details. Probably will not be able to cover everything. So we'll try to go a high level of the reasoning and numbers. A blog post will follow, and probably also a Twitter threads, and all the details will be there. Another thing I mentioned before in is also that these things are still susceptible to be a little bit tweaked and changed based on the feedback. What is important is the reasoning and the, let's say, philosophy behind the way we changed and designed the economics for Maya exchange. One thing that I wanted to mention here is that in order to bootstrap any kind of exchange, usually you have a chicken egg problem. You have, on one hand, you have low volumes and also low liquidity. And one thing that we've seen recently in the DeFi boom that we are right now is a new way of designing, especially crypto exchange and moreover decentralized exchange. And basically, what we've seen here is how you create a feedback loop so that liquidity and volumes somehow are increasing and enforcing in each other. And the way it works is basically you incentivize actions that increase the utility of the via native rewards. And this is where Max, the native token of the Maya exchange, comes into place. As we mentioned already, Max has two things two points that are trying to cover at the same time. One is the so-called governance part, where the community that are in the possession of these are able to govern the network, the Maya exchange, through voting and proposal and other changes that could happen inside the Maya exchange. On the other thing, you want all these max holders to be part of the success, and this is something that recently was not possible. That's why we are introducing the max token. As mentioned, liquidity mining. Probably not too many are familiar with liquidity mining. I'll try very shortly to what it means. We are all familiar with mining, staking, or issuance of a token. Liquidity mining is a little bit different story. It's very particular for automated markets or the so-called decentralized exchanges. And the way it works, in order to be able to provide liquidity for example, for a pair like eGold versus Max, you need to be able to the users, the holders of those two tokens, to lock these amounts to provide the liquidity. And usually the way it works, the reason and the incentive to do that is because you capture a part of the fees when a swap or trading occurs on the exchange. But usually, as mentioned, since you are in a chicken egg problem, sometimes because the volumes were low at the beginning, there is not a strong incentive to provide this liquidity because you cannot capture too much fees because there are not a lot of volumes. And the way to bootstrap, basically, and now we go to the first phase of the Maya exchange, is basically you come with a new token that starts to reward those that take the risk or are more open to offer liquidity, and they get also this incentive in our case max token. But on the other hand, we are in a very interesting position because we have this very strong and big community around the Elrond and around Maya, and we wanted to give this community a way to be part of this story and also to help bootstrap this. That's why we recently announced a few weeks ago that we are also, as an eGold holder, you'll be able to claim some Max token before the launch of the Max tokens, and even after the launch. Here there are a few changes, and I believe this it's worthwhile going a little bit in more details, but because things a little bit change, and I'll try to explain also the reasoning behind this. let me go a little bit to the numbers. Give me just a second.
Maybe one element I see that maybe the connection is a bit bad. I'm not sure if it's from the headphones or the internet.
I know my internet is not very good, so let's see what we can do. Maybe the only thing I can do is to turn off my camera, I guess.
No. I don't think. Maybe just a bit slower when you discuss the conversation, because otherwise it's still fine. So I guess people can hear us, and so just if you say things very rapidly, maybe they hear just 1 second.
Okay, I'll try to go a little bit slower. So let's go to the eagle holders. As mentioned, we already are in the second week of snapshots. Every eagle holders that has eagle is eligible, will be eligible to claim max tokens. And as you probably know, the number of tokens are incentivized to be an eagle holder as soon as possible. It has a decreasing number of tokens per week. We will have around, let me see exact numbers. So for the first 4 weeks, there will be 504 million max that will be distributed. And after launch of the Mine exchange for another 8 weeks, there will be more max tokens provided to the eagle holders, so that in total there will be around 600 million max tokens that are put aside for the eagle holders. Here, as you probably know, you need to manually claim. The owner of the address will need to claim. There will be a so-called grace period. You need to claim those tokens in around 30 days after the snapshot is done, or after the Maya is actually launched. We are still trying to figure out the best way. All those max that are not claimed, they will never be minted, so they are kind of lost. Is okay with the connection?
Yes, I can hear you. I think I lost you for 1 second. So maybe later. Yeah, I think 1 second. Can you guys hear us? Yes, let's see. So we have a document. Yeah.
They say it's okay.
Okay, cool. Then it's good. It's good. We're moving forward.
So here, what's changed is initially we wanted for a longer period of time eagle holders to be able to claim, but we kind of changed this for a shorter period of time. The claiming for this and the period available for these snapshots to be done. But the idea here is not just to receive max tokens only because you are an eagle holders, although this is an important part and we want to support our community. But the main idea is how can we make eagle holders part of the max ecosystem and start supporting this. And that's why we are reducing the period to 3 months from 1 year. But basically, you'll be able, with this max that you are receiving as holders, you'll be able to claim even more max, but by being part of the max ecosystem. Basically, you'll be able to stake your max in 3 pools. 2 pools are the pools for the 2 initial pairs that we are launching for the DEX, the decentralized exchange, basically eGold and Max pair and eGold and BUSD pair. And the third pool is a more simple pool. It's more like similar with staking, where you basically stake max and you get even more max. Might sound a little bit strange for those that are not familiar with the design of the economics of the decentralized exchanges, but basically you want everyone who is not staking or not part of the ecosystem to to feel like not they are losing something, but are like penalized for not being. So you are kind of diluted. You are not part of the ecosystem. Your share of max is kind of the value might drop, at least in absolute numbers, not necessarily in value. So these are a little bit some of the changes on this. Another important part for the eagle holders is, since we want to those that receive these max tokens as eagle holders, we want them to be aligned on the medium and long term with the max ecosystem. That's why we are also introducing a so-called vesting schedule. And basically this means that only 10% of the max you are claiming as an eagle holder will be unlocked, and probably will be unlocked after 30 days of the launch of the exchange. And the other 90% of the max eagle holder unlocked after 1 year in a linear release, 15% for the next 6 months. So that's 30%. Now here it's the most important part here, and is I don't know how much should I stress this, is that those locked token are, you will be able to do whatever you want inside the max ecosystem. Basically, not everything, but you'll be able to provide liquidity, you'll be able to stake, you'll be able to move from one pair to another pair, from one pool to another pool, so that you'll be able to generate even more max rewards. The idea is very simple. If we, let's say, distribute this token, we want to be sure that at least for 1 year, the larger part of this max are still inside the ecosystem and are used for the greater good of the Maiar exchange. Of course,
maybe to, but after your points, maybe I'll add
yeah,
one small.
I'll just say one more thing, and maybe we switch, and then maybe I come back. One thing here is those max rewards that new rewards that you generate from this, let's say, locked max, they are unlocked. And even here we are thinking also from, we have two things in mind: the bootstrapping and the long-term vision. If you want to decide to have your rewards unlocked, it's fine. This is your option that you generate from the locked ones. But also we are introducing something new that I didn't see very used in this space. Is also the option to choose if you want to also lock your rewards that you are receiving also for 1 year and with a linear release. But if you choose to do this, you'll receive a double APR for those rewards that you choose to also lock. Benny, please.
And just tying everything that Lucian mentioned, and sort of put them in perspective. So for everyone that's looking at this, maybe a productive way of looking at things is, as we said, bootstrapping, the bootstrapping phase, the mid long-term phase, and then the end game. The question is, what are we trying to achieve with the Maiar? What's the goal of the Maiar exchange? And as Lucian outlined, the idea is that to the extent that we can attract liquidity to really compelling incentives, then this entire ecosystem, this entire exchange will have pairs for all the important tokens, will enable really deep exchange with very, very little, let's say, differences in price and so forth. And this in turn will bring larger players to provide liquidity. And at the end of the day, there are two metrics that are counting for the, let's say, relative or temporary success of the exchange. A proxy is the total value locked. And then the total value locked creates a really virtuous feedback loop for the price of the token. And then if the price of the token and the total value locked function in harmony, then you basically have a lot of users that are providing deep liquidity that are getting a reward significantly. And the question then becomes, how do you achieve this, right? And here Lucian mentioned a few points. First, you need to bootstrap very, very effectively. And for bootstrap, as you'll see, will have very significant and competitive rewards. Anyone who provides liquidity will be rewarded much better than in almost any other ecosystem at this point. This to attract a lot of liquidity providers. So even people outside of the Elrond ecosystem will have a strong incentive to buy this token and provide liquidity to be able to reap some of the rewards from liquidity mining, as Lucian said. And then afterwards, you'll see some specific numbers. Second, in the medium longer term, the question is, how do you align incentives, interests between the Elrond exchange, the community, and the people that just want to go in and out in a way that works really well to increase the total value locked, and then still to give significant benefits to the community. And here Lucian mentioned 2 points. So one, the distribution of the max token will go for 3 months to the e-gold holders. So 1 month really accelerated, really interesting. Second month, a bit lower, and then third month even lower, but the e-gold holders will be able to receive even the rest of the tokens by providing liquidity in the exchange, because we want to make this shift from e-gold holders, where we start, to e-gold holders becoming part of the Maiar exchange. And here you'll receive the liquidity not for holding e-gold necessarily, but for providing the liquidity, both e-gold and max within the pools. And then the third element that is, I think, very, very important, and Lucian mentioned it, is how do you make sure that you reward, on the one hand, people very, very competitively, but then the rewards are not just taken out and people go to the other point. And the first level is, of course, you provide even better rewards and a compelling future, a vision where the total value locked can grow, can attract very significant liquidity, and then this becomes a virtuous cycle of attraction of ever deeper liquidity. But then the vesting schedule reinforces this very elegantly. And the vesting schedule, maybe to clarify again, the point is that the e-gold holders will receive 10% of their tokens unlocked 30 days after they receive the tokens, when the Maiar, 30 days from the Maiar exchange launch, let's say. And then the 90% of the tokens are vested in a productive way. So this is like a productive constraint where you're in the ecosystem, you can provide liquidity, earn rewards, and move from one pool to another or from one option to another, but you cannot go out at that point because it doesn't make sense. We will probably at a later point add a penalty measure through which you might be able to exit but incur a penalty. But the idea is to be there for 1 year with 90%, and then the 10% you can do whatever you want with it. And the last point, and then I'll let Lucian clarify maybe even more or at some point, is the rewards that you receive on top of the initial liquidity that you provide. For the rewards, you have 2 options. You have one option to not lock them, just receive more rewards in a flexible way, or a different option where you say, no, I'm in this for the longer term. This makes a lot of sense. I'm going to be rewarded very significantly, and this is going to take off. So in this, based on this scenario, you will want to lock your tokens again for 12 months for double APY. So instead of receiving the normal flexible, smaller reward for those rewards in turn, you will have the option to proactively lock your token and say, no, I want to be in this ecosystem for the long term, as it happened with Elrond, for instance. And then by being there, you will be rewarded double for everything you put in as liquidity. Again, and I'm summing this up, the most productive way is to think, what will this exchange achieve? Do we want an exchange that is worth maybe $10 million, $100 million, $1 billion, $10 billion? What's the measure of success that we're aiming towards as a community, as an exchange with deep liquidity? And we believe that this is the moment where the Elrond technology, the Elrond community, and the design of the ecosystem allows us to do something that has never been done before. And this is why we believe also the incentives align things with this type of goal. But again, we're happy to hear more feedback. In the meantime, I'll let Lucian add some more points and maybe clarify.
Sure. Uh, we acknowledge e-gold community is very important for us. On the other hand, we also acknowledge that the DeFi space goes beyond the existing community on the Elrond side. And also for those that were never exposed to the Elrond story, we want to offer the incentives for them to come. That's why there will be also snapshots for those uni cake and sushi holders, so that we incentivize them to at least discover or become curious to see what Elrond and Mine Exchange is doing. On the other hand, also anyone that wants to provide liquidity and doesn't have Elrond will be able, for example, to start providing on the eGold or BUSD to start providing liquidity. They could buy Max and stake them on the Max pool, and they can be part of the story without having to, let's say, feel like you lost the start. Of course, for that's why for the eGold community, we have a different frame. And also for all the others that are discovery want to be part, we also want them to be part of the story. That's why maybe one thing we didn't stress yet enough is that Mine Exchange is a 100% community-owned exchange. And this means that there is no pre-sale, no allocation to the team, investors, advisors, or anything else. Everything that is claimable as an eGold holders goes to the community, and everything that will be provided through the so-called block rewards or liquidity mining for those that provide liquidity will go to the max holders or liquidity providers. And this is a very important part because the so-called fair launch is one of the things that in blockchain space is very important. It's not easy to start this way. We are in a very good position that we can do that, and we want to provide this kind of a wide distribution, fair launch, and have the first, let's say, product launch on top of Elrond that is community owned. And what I mean through the community owned, there are two things: is the idea of the distribution that goes to the community, and on the other hand, that this community can be part of the success of the exchange. And the way they can be part of the success has 2 points. One is through governance and decision, being able to vote on and try to make a point or propose a change, a different pair, a different kind of reward or vesting schedule and stuff like that. And of course, be part of the other way of being part of the success is, of course, by being involved, taking or providing liquidity, you get also a more max. And hopefully, as Benjamin mentioned, this is a feedback loop that is very interesting. The more value is locked, more volumes are provided. The value of the max token also can appreciate, and then the APR and rewards also start to grow. This is a very interesting way of bootstrapping, and not even bootstrapping, because at some point when volumes are high enough and a lot of people actually start also using the exchange. Let's not forget the ultimate purpose of an exchange is to provide to user a way to swap or to exchange one token to another token. And of course, here I believe we are also in a very good position, because through the app we already start with more than 300,000 users that are already using the app. We estimate that this number will grow and will actually accelerate. And being able to exchange eGold to a stable coin, or even other tokens that will be launched on top of Maya or from other chains, to exchange them through the app without the need to move them to an exchange or to another chain. This is something that is very powerful, and in time, this value will be seen by the users and others. Maybe I would say one more important thing regarding the economics part. Maybe then we can move a little bit further. I believe one important thing that it's worth mentioning on the economic side is that the way we want to bootstrap and start Maya is through, let's so-called an infinite, with an emission that is not capped in the sense of the supply. So we want to be able to stay competitive, to be adaptive on how the market and how things are doing in the Maya exchange. That's why the emission of max that are received by the three pools I mentioned, it's not capped, but this doesn't mean that we just mint new max without having a schedule and a program. In the blog post we will publish, you'll see there the exact emission for the first year with each month, exactly how many max are distributed to each pool and those so-called block rewards. And of course, these things might change, and we need to be able to adapt. It's very hard in this phase to get it right, and it's always good to try, but it's better to have the option to improve yourself. So this is also a change that we are doing. On the other hand, we also already are putting in place a mechanism so that the inflation basically, or the inflation basically can be reduced, so that in time this design basically the more successful the exchanges could change the, let's say, inflationary model to become inflation. And basically this is very simple. There will be some burning mechanism built inside the Maya exchange, and the first burning mechanism that we are activating at the launch, as mentioned before, liquidity providers capture a fee for each swap or exchange that takes place on the exchange. And right now, 0.25% of the value that it exchange goes to the liquidity provider, and 0.05% will basically go to a so-called temporary pool or a smart contract that basically will buy max, and the max that are bought will be basically burned. And by doing that, we are achieving two things. On one hand, we have a, let's say, wide appreciation distribution for any max holders, because every time a swap is done, a part of the value of the swap is invested again in the max through the buying process. And on the other hand, this max that is bought is automatically, or at different intervals, probably will be close to real time or once per week, we are still discussing this, will be burned. So on the other hand, everyone else, the amount of max are decreasing. And of course, there is a point in time where enough volumes are generated by the exchange when the system can become deflationary. Also, that's why we try to think for now, for the first year, and to bootstrap and have a successful launch for the first. In the document, you'll see already some plans that we have in mind how this could go even further of this year, and hopefully this will be something that we'll actually decide together, having more data points and seeing actually how things work, so that we do not try to get it right now, but basically be in a position where because we said something, now we cannot change, or because we need to change, we create different expectations. The expectation is that we have a plan, and the plan might a little bit be adjusted, but will be adjusted through this community governance, and together having in mind the best interest of all of us. I think probably there are some more important, other important parts that are worth mentioning, but I think that the information we provide after this call is it's still okay to be read by the others.
Sure. So to sum up, again, we're in a really great position. We have made some significant changes to the design of the economics and so forth, but they align with a clear end goal. And this is for this exchange to really take off, to really serve different markets, enable users to switch, swap, exchange, even more significant tokens and so forth. And to the degree that we do the bootstrapping part really interesting, or really effective, to that degree, this will take off beyond what we see currently in the space with other decentralized exchanges or AMMs. But there's a lot of space here to always improve, to change. As mentioned yesterday, we assume this point by default that no product is finished. Every product can further be improved, can be reimagined. And at Elrond, in fact, I would even say that there are companies where there's one founding moment, they create something great, but then they're not able to change or innovate in a very deep way again. And at Elrond, we're not doing that. At Elrond, we have a lot of founding moments where, as with Elrond, the network, we've created something extremely powerful. With each new day, you discover some new elements about it. With Maiar, we came with something, again, that for the users solves a really deep problem. And now with the Maiar exchange, this is a very significant component that will be part of the ecosystem, and during the next few days and weeks and months will prove critical. So maybe 2-3 points on this element, and then we'll jump to the next point. First, a kind of launch date. Where we won't give a specific date yet, because we have some things that we're working on and so forth. But it's worth saying that we are pushing the hardest possible, the fastest way possible to make this a reality. So something around this month will probably be out. What we can do, on the other hand, that's more productive, is have a kind of first testing version out as soon as it's out. And then from that checkpoint, we'll basically say we probably need 1 week or 1 or 2 weeks or something like that. But again, the end goal here is that we want this exchange to be very significant. This is a journey that we're starting on together, and this is just a starting point. As with Elrond in the beginning, it would have been great for many people to join and stick, not go in, out, and so forth. And we believe this will be the same with the Mara exchange. You want to be in and you want to contribute. Then maybe a second point, what please expand on the Mara supply and deflation mechanism. This, I think, you'll see in the details that will be posted. As Lucian mentioned, is we're not the main difference that I would underscore, and then um, you'll see the metrics is we're not starting from a fixed supply standpoint. We're starting from a mint and burn mechanism that from inflationary switch to the deflationary as adoption comes in. And then as soon as you see the numbers, you'll see that there's something really interesting there. What assets will be available at first? Well, it's eGold, it's Max, and probably a stable coin. So it will probably be a stable coin that I won't name now, but you sense which one it will be. Of course, we have many discussions, but there's one with which things are progressing very well. So these are the assets to begin with. Of course, afterwards, there will be several others that will launch. Um, Meyer Exchange have NFTs? It will probably have, but at first, again, we're trying to minimize complexity to get things started, and then afterwards put in the other pieces as we move forward. How do you guys visualize the Elrond ecosystem a few years from now? Maybe before this, two important points. Um, Once you get the chance to read the article, please come back with some feedback. As Lucian said, very important that we start a conversation always, and we're treating things in a very way. The better the ideas are, the better the feedback, or the more useful the feedback, the better we can improve, and so forth. So this is a conversation, and it's very useful. Now, two important things maybe. Um, First of all, there's another thread here with the Mar Launchpad. Again, the Mar Launchpad as the Mar Exchange is something from a different world. We're not trying to just start a project that we're dropping off in 1 week and just moving forward with it. This is why we're putting a lot of thought, and you'll love as we come with the news out with the next steps. You'll discover that there's something very, very special here that's worth waiting for. And I won't go too much into detail, but probably so the time frame is the first or second week of May. We're aiming for the first, and we'll probably have some updates as we move forward. But we're beyond excited about this element again. And
One thing to
one
add
other
here,
element. Yes, please.
one thing to add here is the synergy between the Meyer Launchpad and the Meyer Exchange. Basically, once you launch a project, one of the biggest challenges for new projects that launch is, on one hand, of course, is funding, getting funded, and of course, having a way to get a distributed way of getting being funded is something important. On the other hand, able to bootstrap the launch of the project, being able to already be, let's say, listed on a decentralized exchange and already have liquidity is also one important part. And basically, we believe that Maya Exchange will be an important part also for the Maya Launchpad, and basically for any other token that will be launched through Launchpad or by itself, or will start building, anyone that will start building on Elrond will be able also to plug in into the Maya Exchange and create a pair and already get some visibility and liquidity. And this is also an important part, I believe.
Definitely. And maybe one last point that I would maybe leave people with is um, a kind of answer that would go toward the direction where the question is, how do you visualize the Elrond ecosystem a few years from now? when everything you envision now has been implemented. So everything, um, as we said, there's always new ideas, always new products, always things to improve. But if we were to discuss a bit about how this will look several years in the future, there's a theme that we'll follow up on maybe during the next few days, of cloud countries that are emerging, where people have an ecosystem on the internet that becomes larger than a country, larger than the GDP of one country, of 5 countries, 10 countries. And then the people inside that cloud country, they can live wherever they want, in different parts of the world, or they can connect and come together. But the idea is that once you have a system that works and provides you with a lot of value because you invested in it, thought in it, contributed to the system, and so forth, um, it will work as a kind of economy that's incomparably more productive than the one we now have, enabling people from all over the world to just do the one thing, or the things at which they're very, very good at, whether solving problems within their immediate um, ecosystems, within their immediate, let's say, towns, countries, or building new solutions, new technologies that interact with this type of technology. um, we really believe that the Elrond economy will surpass the economies of many countries, um, even over the medium, not only long term. So we're at the point where we're going to see several other elements, like the exchange, like the launchpad, with the Maya application bringing in a lot more users, and with people starting to earn maybe or make their living within their ecosystem, selling things, building things, and then earning their incomes more from the internet, from an ecosystem like Elrond, than from the normal jobs. I'm not even going to the metaverse yet, but there's an entire discussion there. Lucian, if you want to add something.
I'll zoom in. I always like when you zoom out. I'll try to zoom in a little bit, coming back to the Maya exchange. Just to mention that Maya exchange is not just an AMM, an automated market maker. We are building a full product stack here that will enhance the growth of Elrond, the Maya exchange itself, and Maya app as well. And what I mean with that is definitely swapping tokens between each other is a very good start, and is a very important thing that we've seen from the feedback from the community, especially from the Maya app. But definitely here there are different other things that can be built on top of Maya exchange: lending, borrowing, margin trading, binary option, fixed term staking, lottery, and different other stuff will can be built on top of Maya exchange. So what I'm trying to say here, this is just the start for Maya exchange. Swapping things is an important part for many users, but definitely here we can build a lot of other stuff that are so-called the DeFi space, and many things we've seen on centralized exchanges or on a more on the traditional financial part. Probably most of them will start to we will find them and we will build, or others will build on top of Elrond and on top of Maya exchange. So this is just the beginning. The best is yet to come.
For sure. So guys, thanks a lot for the discussion, conversation. Again, really good energy from the community, and the admins there, and all the people that are putting effort into either spreading the news about Elrond or helping people within the Elrond ecosystem. Awesome work. Keep up the great work. And then for the partners, validators, and so forth, again, really great work. during the next week, probably we'll have a validator call with some more news, some more updates. The team has been discussing a lot of things and has found a new solution on that front to improve fluidity within the network and so forth. And then partners, we have a lot of partners that are expecting to deploy their ESDTs and then receive the liquidity that Lucian was discussing about. With this, we're basically putting a lot of economic significance on top of Elrond, and the exchange will undoubtedly play a pivotal role in this. So do share your feedback with us. Thanks a lot for being here, and let's take the next level. Can't wait to move forward, and yeah, congrats to everyone involved for moving forward, for bringing the contribution. Thanks, guys, and talk very soon.
Thank you, guys.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.